How to set boundaries with your photo clients. We've all heard horror stories about clients trying to take advantage of photographers and photographers being super shady and not doing what they're supposed to do for their clients. The easiest way that I've found to avoid all of those things is to be super clear with your messaging and communicate thoroughly and set boundaries, because it protects you and it protects your clients and everyone wins. So I'm gonna give you my 3 biggest takeaways when it comes to setting clear boundaries with your clients so everyone has an incredible experience. You can't wait to work with them again, they can't wait to hire you again and send all of their friends to you.
It's showtime.
Hello, my name is Mike Lloyd. I run a multi-6-figure boudoir studio here in Silicon Valley, California. And as a straight male boudoir photographer, setting boundaries is crucial to what I do for many reasons. And I'm going to give you the 3 biggest takeaways that I've found and the biggest suggestions for setting boundaries with your clients, because it ensures you have a great experience, they have a great experience, and both of you want to do it again, which is ultimately the end goal. Firstly, knowing how to say no to things. Second, putting everything in writing. And third, knowing when to be flexible. Knowing how to say no is an acquired skill. You have to practice it, because we don't want to tell people no. It's uncomfortable. It's weird when you're like, well, I could do the thing. Maybe I'll make an exception this time.
Just say it! No!
I've been in the game 12 years, and I can say that 99.9% of the time, you make an exception, it's going to come back to bite you, and you're like, I knew better. I did. I knew that wasn't going to work out, but I went for it anyway, and of course, it didn't work out. I should have known. And then you don't do it next time, hopefully. But knowing how to say no is easier for you and easier for your client. I'll give you a couple examples. I do not shoot anything sexually explicit. I just don't want to. It's not my preference. It doesn't satisfy me creatively. That's not why I'm here. I don't want to take sexy photos. I want to help people feel good about themselves. Some clients want sexy photos, like really sexy photos. Not my jam. So during our consultation process, when they ask me, will you take photos that are more risque? The question I've learned to ask is, what specifically does that mean to you? Like, you will not offend me with details. I need you to be really clear. What does risque mean to you? Because risque in Amish, Pennsylvania means showing some ankle. Risque to other people means like full-on sexual acts, entirely different worlds, right? So when somebody asks me, will you do something more risque, more provocative, more whatever, I'm like, please be just very specific, very clear. What do you mean? And then I can give you an answer. Generally, if they're asking that, I already know it's probably going to be beyond what I want to shoot. So I've learned to say, that's not the style of photography that I do. I don't think I'm going to be able to be the best photographer for what you're looking for. That answer is what I found to be the best way to say no, in a way that disqualifies you from them trying to convince you to do the thing. Other times, people will say, well, I'd love to do an outdoor session. Will you do that? And I say, I have an amazing studio set up here, and I can guarantee results every single time. But as soon as I go outdoors, between weather, traffic, any outside forces, there are too many variables I can't control, and I'm not willing to put your experience on the line. I get that some people would prefer outdoor versus indoor, and if that's the case, I'm not going to be the best photographer for the job. Somebody else will do a better job than me. I am more than happy to say no in that way and say someone else will do a better job than me. I'm not the best fit for this. That's not just, no, I don't feel like it. That is, you'll get better results going to somebody else, and I'm like putting it on them to say, I don't care if I get good results or not, I just want to do the thing. And at that point, I know, and I will just repeat it again. It's not something I'm interested in doing. Somebody else will do a better job than me. I don't have a ton of experience in that. So I'd recommend looking for someone who does this sort of thing and has examples in their portfolio. That's all we can do. But I'd rather have it feel weird saying it to myself in the mirror, have it flow smoothly to a potential client, than get super awkward and uncomfortable, agree to something I'm going to regret, and then have to figure out how to get out of it later. So again, the best way I've found to say no is say, it's not what I do. Someone else will do a better job. And you will customize this to whatever the request is. If I wanted to put myself in a position to have to do work I don't want to do, I wouldn't have started my own company. I built this because I love doing what I do and serving the clients that I serve in the way that I want to serve them. And I've found my people. And there are so many people on this planet that if you figure out what you don't want to do and say no to those people, you are freeing up the time and energy and resources to then serve more of the people who get you. It's a win for everybody. All right, 2, put everything in writing. Super important. I don't do a shoot without a contract because I want everyone to know what are timelines, who is responsible for what happens if there's, a flood and somebody can't get to my studio for their appointment, things like that. Everything needs to be outlined. And you're like, but there are an impossible number of scenarios that could happen in a given day. How do we cover all of that? You get a contract written by a lawyer, and it doesn't have to be stupid expensive, but it's like buying insurance. You pay for it one time and it will serve you for years. Mind you, every state is different. So if your photographer friend in another state got one drafted up by their lawyer, it may not work the same in your state. So it's always good to have an attorney review your contract, even if you buy from an attorney. Like Rachel Branke, the Law Tog, that's who I get my contracts from. There are other people out there who sell contracts. That's great. Regardless of who you get it from, they all the legit ones still recommend you have a local attorney review it to make sure it's valid in your state. It might cost you a couple $100s to have somebody review it, but to have it actually be legit is well worth it. Because if you buy a contract that isn't valid where you are, then it's a waste of money and time because no court will uphold an illegal contract. They won't. It's not even a discussion. If any part of the contract is illegal, the whole contract is void. And odds are your clients are not lawyers. They won't know. So you're both going to go into this agreement that's technically illegal because something in there can't be upheld. And then the whole agreement is null and void. That's the last of my lawyer speak, I promise, but putting everything in writing. So my booking agreement, I outline exactly who is responsible for what and when the deadlines are. In my preparation guide, this is exactly how you need to show up. This is what we are going to provide. This is what you're going to get out of everything. Everything is done in writing because I don't want any guessing later. Well, I didn't know how much you cost. I didn't know I was supposed to bring the thing. I'm like, you signed the thing, you responded to that email, you acknowledged it at the time. Now, obviously, that doesn't help. This isn't to place blame on anybody, but when things are in writing and you encourage people to actually read them, then you'll end up with fewer issues in the long run. So again, it's not about placing blame, it's about preventing scenarios where somebody could be blamed for something. This whole video is about prevention, not how to deal with things later on. Because if you are smart about everything in the beginning, you will have very few things to deal with later on. All right, point number 3 is knowing when to be flexible. When it comes to contracts, zero flexibility. This is why it's important to pay attention to what goes in your contract. If you choose to not uphold one part of your contract, you cannot uphold any part of your contract. Because you're basically just saying the contract as a whole is not totally valid, therefore nothing is going to hold up in court. If you have a contract that says, a client may reschedule a shoot within 7 days, but they have to pay a fee of $200. And you let them reschedule and they don't pay a fee of $200. Then later on, they say, I thought I was going to get all the free digital images. I want to sue you for $10,000. You're like, no, you signed a contract stating that all images are purchased separately. And they're like, yeah, but you didn't charge me this fee, so I don't even know what part of the contracts you're actually upholding. The court is going to side with them every single time because you've decided the contract wasn't worth enforcing the first time. You can't decide later that other parts of it are worth enforcing. So if you put it in your contract, stick to your guns. And this is why it's important to set these precedences early on. So when you actually speak with your clients about booking, let them know. Hey, if you got to reschedule, totally cool. Life happens. I get it. Just so you know, this is the schedule. If you got to rebook your date within 2 weeks, this is what's going to happen. If you call me 24 hours before your session and need to reschedule, unfortunately, I won't be able to because I can't fill that spot in such a short amount of time. And I don't want to deny somebody else that opportunity. Let them know. And then it will much less likely be an issue. You cannot prevent everything. It's impossible. But you will get really good at recognizing these red flags and these little hints, and then you can prevent them. So things that you can be flexible on. I have it in my contract that if somebody is 30 minutes late, I can cancel their photo shoot, right? This also means if they show up 31 minutes late, what do? If I don't uphold this part of the contract, I can't enforce any part of the contract. That is your personal decision. I cannot advise you one way or the other. You have to make that call. But it also says, right, if somebody is late, I'm not going to give them extra time. But if somebody shows up 5 minutes late and we're just flowing and I know I'm going to sell more photos, I might extend their shoot. I will not extend their shoot to make up for their tardiness, but I might extend their shoot because I just want to give somebody extra time. So the contract doesn't say they have a 3-hour window with me, and if it starts late, it will end late. Like, I don't dictate an end time, but I do dictate limits around start times because I don't want people to show up late and expect to get extra time added to the end of their shoot. Because odds are I've got another shoot after theirs, at least for my morning sessions. So I don't want to cut into that time because the first person was late. So my contract dictates start times, not end times. That gives me the flexibility to extend their shoot if I want to. So all of these things are lessons you're going to learn as you go. You will recognize signs and when to be flexible and when to not be flexible. But I will say, when you get that feeling in your gut that says this is not going to work out well for me, trust your gut. Because ask anyone who's been in the game a long time, when you get those signs, 99% of the time, the thing you're afraid is going to happen is going to happen. It rarely ever works out in your favor. So set your boundaries, practice how to say no, put everything in writing, and know when you can be flexible legally, and everything gets so much easier. I know this sounds like it's some stressful balancing act that I have to walk shoot to shoot, but because the way that I position my brand, that I communicate with my clients, because of the written agreements that we have and how thoroughly we discuss everything, this is almost never an issue. We eliminate all of the potential conflict in the consultation call, and everything runs smoothly 99.9% of the time, which is a pretty darn good ratio. So again, if you want to know more about contracts, Rachel Branke, the Law Tog, I got her link down below. And if you want to know more about running a photography business, I have some incredible videos here on the channel, like my 5 favorite ways to get new clients in 2022 and how to scale your business to 6 figures. You are amazing. I'll see you inside.